welcome. Get comfortable, resting our hands on the knees. And then we'll close the eyes. Bring your attention to the sensation of your breath. Breath coming in and breath going out. Focusing all your attention on the feeling of the breath. Using the breath as a bridge into your internal world. Leaving the rest of your day outside of your yoga mat for the time being. Notice the qualities of your breath, whether the breath feels warm or cool, deep or shallow. Smooth and even, or a bit erratic. Be curious and just observe. And then start to pay attention to the rest of the body as well. Noticing if you can detect sensations in other parts of your body, or noticing where you have no sensation. And then notice how you're feeling in yourself, whether you feel energetic or tired, and what your mood is like. And then for a few moments, let's bring the attention back to the breath. And we'll begin to deepen the breath, so a long, intentional breath in through the nose, and a long exhale through the nose, starting to make the breath more uniform so that the inhale and the exhale are roughly the same length as each other. On your next exhale, let's blink open the eyes. Okay, let's start with a side stretch. So we'll place the left hand down beside the body and we'll reach the right arm just directly up in the air. Inhale, just try to reach through the fingertips and at the same time root that hip down onto the mat. And then as you exhale, begin to stretch over, keeping the right hip firmly pressing down onto the mat. And then if you have the space, you could creep your fingers a little bit further away or even bend that left elbow slightly. Or you might be able to find a bit more of a twisting action here by looking underneath the right arm up towards the ceiling. Imagine your armpit is rolling in towards your face. So you're finding a little external motion in the upper arm bone. Okay, let's inhale, lift all the way up, and we'll bring the right hand down. Hello, Tom, just joining us. Let's lift the left arm now, reaching down through the left hip. And then we're going to start to stretch over towards the right. And we might reach the fingertips a little bit further away to go a little bit further. And we might look under this arm up towards the ceiling. And then Tom, as you just joined us, I'd recommend you go over to the other side now because we've already done that side. Otherwise, just staying here for a couple more breaths, finding so much space through the side body. Good. Now we're going to inhale, come all the way up, and then exhale, just rest both hands on the knees and just roll the shoulders back a couple times and forwards a couple times. Okay, let's come onto all fours and we'll do some cat and cow movement, getting the spine and the core working. So just take a moment on all fours here, feeling balance across the left and the right side of the body. And then as you inhale, we'll draw the belly down and we'll lift the tailbone and we'll look forwards. And then as you exhale, we'll press into the hands, rounding the back, and we'll tuck the tailbone under. Inhale, lifting the chest, gazing forwards. And exhale, rounding the back, feeling the shoulder blades sliding away from one another. Inhale, one more time, lifting the chest. And then exhale, one last time, rounding the back, tucking the chin. And trying to lift up between the shoulder blades. Okay, let's inhale, come back to a neutral spine. And then we'll bring the knees a bit wider apart, so the knees are wider than the hips. And then start to walk your hands away and bring your forehead down onto the mat. If it feels okay, see if you can have your thumbs touching. And then roll the shoulder blades away from the spine, as if the shoulder blades will wrap around the sides of the body, underneath the armpits. Draw the lower belly in and then gently pull back with the pelvis to increase the stretch in the fronts of the shoulders. And if you want to go any deeper, we could come up onto the fingertips, lifting the wrists and the palms away from the floor. Maybe closing the eyes here. Keeping that breath calm and even. Never going so deep into a pose that you can't breathe. Okay, let's press the palms flat, push down through the hands to lift the head, and we'll walk the hands back underneath the shoulders, we'll walk the knees back underneath the hips. And we can be still here, or if it feels good, you could move through cat and cow pose a couple more times just to make sure the back is feeling okay after that deep stretch. Okay. Now try to find a neutral spine, so the crown of the head is reaching forwards, the tailbone is reaching back, and we find a little lift in the lower belly to help support this straight spine. And then let's stretch the right foot out, and we're going to point the toes and put the tip toes or the toenails on the mat behind us. And we're going to reach the left fingertips forwards and just find our balance here, trying to keep both shoulders level and both sides of the hips level. Nice, and then let's float the right leg up and float the left hand up and just find a straight line here, reaching backwards with the toes, forwards with the left hand. Keep your neck nice and long, so don't try to look forwards, just look down at the mat, maybe at the mat a little bit further forwards than your fingertips. Now we're going to lift up beyond this straight line. So as if we're coming into our cow pose, lifting the leg higher and lifting the hand higher and feeling this back bend here. As you exhale, bring the toenails and the fingertips down onto the mat, touching the floor. Keeping the leg and arm outstretched. Good. Inhale, lift up, go beyond that straight line, find a little back bend. And exhale, tap the floor. Inhale, lifting up. Try to keep reaching away as well as up. Exhale, touch the floor, we'll do two more. Inhale, lifting up, don't strain your neck, keep looking down. Exhale, tap the floor. And last one, we're going to lift and we're going to hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come all the way down onto onto all fours. And we're going to press into the hands and round the back. Tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. And maybe find a little bit of a sway forwards and backwards here if it feels nice. Okay, let's come back to the centre, finding that neutral spine, and we'll go to the other side. Stretch your left toes away so that the toe is pointed and the toenails are on the mat behind you, and we'll reach the right hand forwards so the fingertips are on the mat in front. Lift up to a neutral line. Just hold it here for a moment, finding the balance. And then we'll go beyond this straight line. Inhale, lifting the leg up high and the arm up high. Good. Exhale, touch the floor. Inhale, lifting up beyond the straight line, the belly drops down. Exhale, touch. Remember to keep the neck nice and long so the shoulders are drawing down the back and the head just looks down towards the mat. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lower. And the last one, lifting up. We're going to hold it here, reaching away, not just up. Away to go up. If it's too much with the arm and the leg, then just do the leg. Take one last breath, inhale. And then exhale, we're going to come back onto all fours. We're going to press into the hands, rounding the back, tucking the chin. And then push all the way back into your child's pose, sitting on the heels and resting the forehead on the mat. Let the elbows relax down. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose, out through the nose. And then let's slide the hands all the way back behind us, turning the palms of the hands up so that the hands are beside the feet. Let your shoulders roll down towards the ground. Good. Draw the lower belly in. As you inhale, let's lift back up onto all fours. We'll tuck the toes and lift the hips up, coming into downward facing dog. Spread the fingers wide, spread the shoulders wide. Lift the hips up high behind you, and then let's walk on the spot. So keep your toes where they are, but slowly lifting one heel, bending the knee as you push the opposite heel down, and then switch. Make sure the feet are hip distance apart and the toes stay facing forwards, the heels stay facing back so you're not rolling to the inside edge of your feet. Good, and then just take a few breaths, just staying still in your downward dog now. Hips lifting to stretch the spine. And then maybe the heels drawing down to stretch more deeply into the backs of the legs. Good, okay, look forward. We're going to inhale, send the shoulders over the fingertips, straightening the legs, coming into a plank position. Draw the belly in, tuck the tailbone under. Again, try to find this sense of balance between the right and the left side of the body, and a sense of connection between your shoulders and your core as you draw your shoulders down the back and you tuck the tailbone in and draw the lower belly in. Good, take one last breath here, then as you exhale, lower all the way down, bending your elbows onto your belly. Good, let's come up onto our elbows. Palms flat on the ground in front of us. We'll keep the lower body relaxed. If you feel happy here, then we can bring the elbows directly underneath the shoulders, and then we'll be lifting up a little bit higher. Or we can have the elbows a little bit further forwards. It'll be slightly less deep into the pose. So just see what feels best for you today. It doesn't always have to be your deepest version of everything. And then just gently press into the elbows. Imagine the neck getting longer as the shoulder blades draw down the back. And then just very gently let your chin drop down towards your chest. Finding space in the back of the neck. And then we're going to draw the chin along the chest towards the right, so that you're looking over your right shoulder. No force, take it easy here. Good, and draw the chin all the way down to the chest, and we're going to look over the left shoulder. Always repeat that again, drawing the chin down to look over the right shoulder. Keep the breath slow and even. And we'll draw the chin over towards the left. Good, then draw the chin back to the centre. And then lift up through the centre, so you're gazing forwards. And now we're going to bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. And we're going to lift up to the centre and draw the left ear towards the left shoulder. And then one more time, coming through the centre towards the right. Through the centre towards the left. And then let your chin drop all the way down to the centre again, chin to chest. And then we're going to lift the head and lower the chest down onto the mat, sliding the hands back under the shoulders or beside the ribs with the fingers pointing forwards. As you next inhale, come up either into a cobra with your hips down or an upward facing dog with the hips lifted, pushing into the tops of the feet. And then exhale, push back into a downward facing dog. Very nice, okay. Look towards the front of the mat, towards your hands, and let's just walk the feet in slowly. Walking the hands walking the feet behind the hands, so your feet are wide. And then bend your knees and we'll let the upper body just hang over the legs. Keep this one nice and soft. Maybe have a gentle rock side to side. You might want to reach up and hold on to opposite elbows with your hands. You might enjoy shaking or nodding the head gently. And then let's inhale, bend the knees. And then exhale, straighten the legs. If this lifts your chest far from your thighs, then keep a little bend in your knees. And then again, we'll bend the knees deeply. And exhale, either straighten the legs or try to just bring them slightly straighter. One more time. Bending the knees. Exhale, bringing the legs slightly straighter. And then last time we'll bend the knees and hold on to the big toes. Gaze forwards, straighten the arms. And then exhale, straighten the legs or bring them slightly straighter as you fold forwards. If this is quite inaccessible for you, you can hold on to the backs of your legs with your hands rather than the toes. Try to scoop the belly in and move into that space if you're able. Okay, let's straighten the arms. Inhale. Exhale here. And then inhale, bring your hands up to your hips. Lift up with a straight back, all the way up to standing. And then we'll bring the hands down beside the body and we'll step towards the front of the mat. Bring your toes together, leave a gap between your heels or have your feet hip distance apart if you prefer. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. If it feels comfortable, press your palms together. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, gaze forwards, lengthen the spine. And then as you exhale, step just your left foot back. Bring the left knee down and just enjoy your lunge here. Notice the space you have in the front of your left hip. See if you can bring the back knee further away whilst keeping your right knee over the ankle. And then press through the feet, float the hands to your chest, pressing palms together. And then we can stay here, or we might reach the arms up overhead, looking towards the thumbs, or with the hands separate if you prefer. Draw the belly in, and imagine your armpits are rolling towards each other in front of the chest. Very nice. Take one last breath, inhale, exhale, let's bring the hands all the way down. And we're going to step back into a plank. Inhale, exhale, chaturanga, or lower all the way to the floor if you prefer. Inhale, move through a cobra or an up dog. And exhale, push back into downward facing dog. Very nice. Okay, now let's step that left foot forwards and bring the right knee down. Lunging here. Just feeling into the front of your right hip, noticing if there's difference between the two sides. Maybe the back knee moves further away, so the hips move deeper. And then we'll bring the hands to the chest, and we'll either just stay here or we lift the arms up. Imagine your rib cage floating up away from your pelvis as your core lifts the upper body upwards, lengthening through the sides of the body, through the front of the body and the back of the body. Take one last breath, inhale, exhale, bring the hands all the way down so you can step back into your plank. Inhale, exhale to lower chaturanga, move through your back bend of the chest. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog. Really nice. Slow, steady breaths in your downward dog. Lifting the hips away from the shoulders. Imagining the spine lengthening, finding space between each vertebrae of the spine. Draw the lower belly in and imagine the belly almost hollows out as the hips move back and up. Okay, we're going to lift the right leg up behind us, but actually before we do that, let's step the feet together. So we'll bring the feet together and then we're going to lift the right leg up in the air behind us, coming into a one-legged downward facing dog. Inhale here, and then as you exhale, bring the right knee forwards towards the chest and round the back and push the floor away. Good. Inhale, lift the leg up high. Exhale, bring your knee towards your left elbow and twist the lower body, keeping your shoulders level and straight. Good. Inhale, lift your right leg up behind you. Last one, we're going to bring the knee out to the side towards the outside of the right elbow. Hold it here, round the back, lift the knee up higher. Last breath, and then as you exhale, lower your knee all the way down onto the mat behind your right wrist. Keep the foot quite central and slide your back foot away. So we're in a closed knee pigeon. So it's a pigeon pose, but you're keeping your foot very close to the groin. Good. And just see how you feel here. We'll stay up on the hands for now and think about space through the front of that left hip. You might be further from the floor than me, that's fine. You can always put your right hip on a cushion for a bit more support. Okay, now we're going to lean towards the right and we're going to bring this foot further forward. So you might just go part way forwards. You might even be able to get it parallel to the front of the mat. Don't obsess with getting your hips all the way down. It's fine to have your hips lifted off the mat, but I want the top of your thigh to be pointing towards the floor. So rather than sitting over here, kind of on that right hip, we're keeping the hips parallel to the floor. Nice, and then if you have the space, we can start to bring the back knee further away so the hips move closer to the floor, but without finding this rolling towards the right. Feel free to untuck your back toes if that's comfortable, and if you have the space, you might find it nice to come down to the elbows. If not, stay up on the hands, or you can just put a cushion or something under the arms. So this obviously is a hip opener, but it can help a lot with forward folds. So if you find it difficult to fold forwards, it might not just be your hamstrings that are the tight area, it can also be your hips. So once you stretch in this way, you might find that the forward folds become a little bit more accessible. Let's take one last breath here. And exhale, come up onto your hands. And we're going to bring this back knee in a little bit. And bring the right foot closer to the groin again, so we're turning the knee forwards. And then we're going to lift that knee back up to the outside of the right elbow. And then lift the leg up in the air behind you and give it a little shake. Maybe bending the knee and lifting the kneecap up high. And then come back into your downward facing dog. Good, and you might want to walk on the spot for a moment, or just be still, feeling the right and the left side of your hips, noticing if you can feel a difference there. Okay, and then step your feet together. We're going to do the same on the other side. So we'll start by lifting up the left leg in a one-legged downward dog. Inhale, as you exhale, bring your knee forwards, round the back, shoulders over your fingertips if you can. Hug the knee to your chest. Inhale, lift the leg up. Exhale, start to twist in the lower body to bring your knee towards your right elbow. Twisting up and across. Inhale, lift the left leg back up. And last one, bring the knee to the outside of your left elbow. Lift it up, belly in, round the back, and then lower the knee all the way down. Keep the knee quite close so your heel is near the groin as you slide your back foot a little bit further away and come into this smaller pigeon pose. And this is a good one to do if you're practicing half lotus position, when you have one foot folded towards the opposite thigh of lotus. This is a good pose to practice that. It's also a bit safer for the knee. So I'll just spend a few moments here. And then we can start to bring the left foot further forwards. And expect that you might have to bring your back knee in again because you've made the pose much tougher, so your hips might not be so close to the ground. Try to bring your pelvis level to the ground. It's fine to have the hips far from the floor. If we're in the studio, I'd give you a bolster or a block to sit on here. And then when you're ready, you can stay up on your hands, or you might have to walk the hands further forwards and draw the elbows down. Try to make sure it's the top of your thigh that's pointing down, that you're not rolling over towards the left. Do your best to relax here. If you experience any pain in your knee, then you need to lift the hips further from the floor, or bring your left foot a bit closer towards the hips. Ideally, we want to be feeling this stretch around the outside of the left hip, the sides of the glutes, or maybe in the inner thigh a little bit, but not around the knee. So back away from any pain in your knees at all times. Let's take one last breath here. And exhale. Good, let's inhale, come up onto the hands. Exhale, bring your back knee a little bit closer. Bring your left foot a little bit further back so that we can lift that knee back up where it was behind the left elbow. And then all the way up into the air. Give the leg a little shake. Or bend the knee and open the hip, lifting the kneecap up high. Great, and then come back into your downward facing dog. And just try to feel a sense of balance between the left and the right side of the body. Good. Come forwards into a plank. Inhale, exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Come through your back bend, lifting the chest. And exhale, push back into your downward facing dog. Okay, inhale, come towards the front of the mat. Lift the chest halfway. Exhale, fold over both legs. Notice if you've maybe created a bit more space. Inhale, lift all the way up. Sweeping the arms overhead. Pressing thumbs together. And then exhale, hands back down beside you. Good, okay, now we're going to bend the knees. Keep the knees pointing forwards. Sweep the arms up. Exhale. Fold over the legs. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, step back, come through your vinyasa. Lowering down. Inhale through your back bend. And exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, we're going to step the right foot forwards. Step it next to your right thumb. Bring the back heel down, bend into your right knee, and just lift the hands together in a prayer at the chest. Lunge into your right knee. And try to turn the hips towards the front as best you can. Good. Straightening the back leg. And then again, the hands can float up. They can stay at the chest, or they can float a little bit wider if you prefer. Good. Keep breathing, lifting up with the upper body, lunging down with the lower body. Take one last breath, inhale. And exhale. And then we're going to inhale, straighten both legs. Exhale, open the chest towards the left. Keep your right foot pointing forwards. And your left toes can turn out a little bit if that feels more comfortable. Keep both legs straight. Inhale, reach towards the front of your mat. And exhale, fold. Let your hand rest maybe on your shin, your ankle, or you could grab your big toes. But keep both legs straight and then lift up through the left hand. Try to reach for the ceiling, pushing down firmly through straight legs. And lifting the upper body away from the floor. Good, if you feel comfortable to look at your left hand. Gaze there. Find strength in the internal body. So the belly's drawing in, the pelvic floor lifting up. Stay nice and calm here. Good, and then as you next inhale, we're going to come up to standing. It can help to look down as you lift up. And then we're going to bend into the right knee. We're going to wimble the hands down, come onto the tip toe of your back foot. Keep the left hand on the mat and reach the right arm up into an easy twist here. Gaze at the right fingertips, push through the left hand and think about your spine twisting, but your hips remaining in the same place facing forwards. Take one last breath, inhale, exhale. We're going to bring the right hand down. Come up onto your fingertips and we're going to lift the back knee to the chest, finding our balance to roll up to standing, reaching the arms up overhead. Okay, and then bring the hands down, interlace the fingers and catch a hold of your left shin and stabilize here. I'm going to turn to face you so you can see. Okay, point the toes, lift the knee up towards the chest. And then we're going to inhale, float the hands away from the knee. And then exhale, catch and lift. Inhale, float away, try to keep the knee as high as it was when you were holding it. And then exhale, catch and lift. And then we might bring the right hand to the hip and the left hand to the toes. Or we could hold onto the knee with the left hand rather than the toes. And then maybe straightening that leg away. Good. Breathing here for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's all bend the knee again. Hand to the knee. And then we're going to open the knee out to the side, slide the hand down to catch the ankle, and see if we can lift the foot towards the inner thigh. If that's too high, then bring the foot to the calf instead. And then bring the hands together at the centre of the chest. Really try to feel into this sense of there being a centre line through the body. The hands pressing together, the foot and the leg pressing together, and this forming this centre line that you're holding straight. And then part of that will be keeping the hips level, so you're not kind of dropping your right hip out to the side. Push down through the standing foot and make sure you're connecting to both the big toe and the little toe, the ball of the foot on the left and the right, and the heel. So in that way your foot is like a little tripod. And we make sure we don't lose the arch. Let's try lifting the arms overhead. And if you feel comfortable, you can look up towards your thumbs. As always, you don't have to keep the hands pressed together. You can separate the arms if your shoulders feel tight. Okay, keep the arms lifted, separate the hands. Bring your knee back towards your chest. We're going to send this leg back out behind us, and we'll reach the arms back as well, coming into a warrior 3. Lift the leg up high, look at the floor, but in front of you. You're looking kind of away at the floor. Okay, nice long breaths, pushing down through that standing foot. Last breath, inhale, exhale, lower the left toes onto the mat. Reach the arms up, you're back in your warrior 1, where we began. And then exhale, let's bring the hands down, step back into your plank. And lower down to chaturanga. Move to your back bend, lifting the chest. And exhale, push back into your downward facing dog. Very nice. Breathing here. If you're feeling tired, this would be a good moment to come into a child's pose. And in a moment we'll go to the other side. I'm just going to turn around so that I'll be facing you with the other leg forwards. Okay, so when you're ready, let's step the left foot forwards. Step your left foot next to your left thumb. So your foot is slightly to the left, not dead centre in the middle. Bring your right heel down. Inhale, lift the chest and just bring your hands together in a prayer to start. Think about lunging deeply into the left knee. Hips turning to face the front, and your belly and your spine lifting up. We can lift the arms up overhead as well, or keep the hands at the chest, up to you. Good, keep bending deep, deep, deep into that left knee, and then straight, straight, straight with that back leg. Keep breathing, keep the mind focused on what you're doing. And then let's inhale, straighten both legs. And exhale, open out, ready for your triangle. You can let your right toes follow you a little bit here. Left toes still pointing towards the front edge of the mat. Inhale, reach to the left. Exhale, bring the left hand down onto the shin, the ankle, or you can hold onto your big toes. Lift your kneecaps to help protect your legs if they feel like you're putting pressure on your knee. Hold on to something, Chris, so hold your big toe or hold your foot, and then you're going to lift up as if you're trying to touch the ceiling with your right hand, and that grip that you have is the only thing stopping you from floating right away from the floor. Push your big toe down into the mat to resist that feeling. Good. Tom, try to lean your chest back a little bit more so you're not leaning forward. You're opening the chest up. Nice, yeah. Okay, now we're going to come up to standing. So inhale, lift all the way back up. and exhale, bend into your left knee. Good, wiggle the hands down and come onto the tiptoe of your back foot. Right hand on the mat, sweep the left arm up. Look towards the left fingertips, push into your right hand. Feel your right ear lifting away from the right shoulder. Spiral the chest, imagine your belly button turning to the ceiling. Take one last breath, inhale, exhale, bring that hand all the way down. And now we're going to do this back knee coming to the chest, rolling up to stand. Lift the arms overhead. Really good. Find your balance here, and then we're going to interlock the fingers and find the shin. I'll turn to face you. Good, point the toes, and then lift your knee up a little bit higher. And then try floating the hands away and keep the knee up high. Inhale, exhale, catch. And again, keep the knee up high. And exhale, catch. Bring your left hand to your hip, right hand can stay on the knee, that's perfect. Or we can find the toes if that's accessible. And then if you have your toes, we'll try straightening the leg. Wherever you are, try to keep your hips level. So be careful, especially if you're straightening your leg, that you don't start to lift your right hip up higher than your left. Keep breathing. Keep pushing down through your standing foot and try to feel the connection between your foot pressing down and the crown of your head lifting up. Okay, last breath, inhale, exhale, bend the knee. Open the knee out to the side, find your ankle and bring it towards the inner thigh or the inside of the calf. And then we'll bring the hands together in a prayer. And just relax here. Try to engage what needs to be engaged to hold yourself here. But let go of unnecessary kind of tension here or any feeling that you need to be completely still. So in fact, you need to be relaxed enough to kind of ride the waves of the wobbles. Good. If you fall out, just take your time and come back in. No rush, no worries. And then if you like, you can float the arms up overhead. Challenging your balance by looking up at the ceiling, or even more challenging, up towards your fingers. I'm going to send myself over doing that. Okay, and then look straight ahead and bring your knee back to your chest. Good, catch yourself in that moment. Okay, now we're going to fold forwards and stretch the legs out behind us, and the arms can reach back here as well. Lift the leg up high, find a little lift of the chest as well, and gaze forwards on the ground in front of you. Good, keep breathing, don't hold your breath. Remember, the foot is like a tripod, don't lose the arch of the foot. Again, and let's bend the left knee and softly place the right leg back on the mat. Inhale, sweep the arms back up, arriving back in the warrior one that we started this little sequence in. Inhaling, exhale, frame the foot, make your way through your vinyasa. Inhale, lifting your chest. Exhale, coming back into your downward facing dog. And now we'll come to sit on the mat. So you can do a little jump to sit, crossing the legs, or you could just bring your knees down. Good. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Bring the hands down directly under your shoulders. Flex your feet if that's accessible for you. And draw your chin down. Just think about a nice straight spine and lead through the back of the neck as the chin draws down. Lift your chest up towards your chin. Engage the muscles of your legs, your quadriceps. Working to lift the kneecaps. Feel the hips rooting down into the ground. Good, and then reach the hands forwards, look forwards, inhale. Exhale, fold and reach maybe for your toes, your ankles or your shins. If you find it difficult to get this tilt forwards in your hips, you can always bend the knees slightly to help the hips bend more without the hamstrings getting in the way if they're tight, and then work towards straightening the legs over time. Breathe deeply here. Try to come back to the 3 anchors of mindfulness that we worked with at the start of the class. So that's the breath, the sensations in the body, and awareness of your emotions, of how you're feeling in the postures. Okay, as you next inhale, straighten the arms. And then exhale, lift the chest and place your hands behind you and bend your elbows to get quite far back. Bring the legs together, point the toes. And then we're going to straighten the arms, puff the chest out, and you can look straight ahead or you can look slightly up if you like. Try to roll your upper arm bone forwards. And that will create more space for that puffing of the chest. Good, and then release and bend the elbows. And now we're going to step the feet in. If possible, keep the feet together and then knees together. Or you could have the feet wider. But if you make any adjustments, come down before you adjust. Don't start moving your feet about when you're lifted. So we do the same thing, is we're going to lift up and again roll the arm bones forwards, lift the hips, and now you can drop the head back if that's comfortable. If you feel like you're hitting the muscles in your back when you drop your head back, then you might want to roll your arms forwards a little bit more. Again, if you want to adjust your position, come all the way down before you adjust. Yeah, it's fine to look straight ahead if that feels better for your knee, your neck. Let's take one last breath. Inhale, exhale. Slowly, slowly, slowly come down. Good. Okay. Hug both knees to your chest. And then gently drop your forehead to your knees. Good. And then let's lift the head. Feet flat on the ground. Straighten your arms in front of you and roll back until you're sitting between your sit bones and your tailbone. So don't go so far back that you're on your tailbone. Try to find that kind of squishy point that you can rest. Arms in front, and then we're going to lift just the right leg, either halfway or you could straighten it. Good. Point the toes, just look straight ahead, and then let's switch. Right foot flat on the ground, left leg, toes, point, either straighten the leg or lift it part way. Good, and then let's rest, and again we'll just hold the shins. And then we're going to go up again. So, this time come up onto your tiptoes, hands in front, and then let's hold this. Draw the lower belly in. And then try floating the feet up halfway. And you might just stay here, this is fine, or we can straighten the legs, both legs together. If your legs are straight, look at your toes instead of straight ahead. Good, last breath here. And then exhale, this time let's cross the legs and rest the hands on the knees. Okay, we're going to do a little lift. So crossing the shins, hands in front of the hips, behind the toes. Lean forwards, press into the edges of your feet and try to lift your hips off the floor. Good. Even if you're not lifting up, just try to have this sort of directionality of shoulders forward, hands down, hips up and back. And then lower down, let's cross the legs and just rest the hands on the knees. And we're going to do one more, maybe lifting the feet up as well. And that's going to be the only lift of the day. So feel free to go for it if you want. So hands in front of the hips. You're going to bring shoulders forwards and then your hips trying to lift up and back through your arms. So let's try and come up and then lift up one or both feet if you can. For 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Come down, cross the legs. And then we're going to interlace the hands behind the back and reach the arms back. Try to resist the temptation of squeezing your shoulder blades together, and instead, again, this feeling of trying to rotate the upper arm forwards. So that's different from like a rolling forwards. It's literally as if you're trying to twist your arm forwards, but doing that with the hands interlaced. It's a funny feeling. Okay, and then we're going to bring the hands with the fingers clasped. I'll show you from the back. We're going to bring them all the way around to the right side of the waist. And then we're going to try to pull the right elbow back. Yeah, and then we're going to drop the head towards that side. So if you can imagine here, you're stretching your traps all the way along the back of the neck. So I find it helpful to have my head at a kind of diagonal, but you can gently move the head backwards and forwards and just work out where the stretch feels nicest for you. Maybe closing the eyes here. Okay, and then let's lift the head gently to the centre. And again, reach the arms out behind you. And then we'll bring the hands around towards the left. And then we'll tuck the left elbow back. And then we're going to drop the head towards that side, so towards the left. And we can draw the chin down, or we can draw the ear to the side, so just kind of working out where it feels best. Okay, and then let's lift the head gently through the centre, and one more time with the hands interlaced, reaching the hands back. Good, and then release, bring the hands onto the knees. Check everything's feeling good. You can give yourself a little wiggle or a bit of a cat and cow movement from seated if you like. Okay, we're going to do one last pose. Bringing the knees to the chest. Make sure your knee joints are closed, and then open the knees out to the side so the soles of the feet are together. If this is too intense with the legs close to you, we can bring the legs further away. Okay. Let's take a moment just trying to sit up tall to begin. You can use your hands behind you to help you try to sit towards the front of your pelvis here. And then we can gently start to fold over the legs. And it might be enough of a stretch just to be sitting up straight, so you may or may not move forwards as well. Good, nice long, slow breaths. Okay, and then let's inhale, slowly lift all the way up. Like so, use your hands under your knees to close the legs. And then we're going to lie all the way down onto the back, so slowly making your way down to lie on the back. And we'll bring the feet wide, but keep the knees bent and rest the knees onto one another in constructive rest pose. And then bring your hands down with the palms facing down beside you. Walk your feet closer together and then lift your knees one at a time towards your chest. And then we're going to straighten the legs, reaching the toes to the ceiling. If it's uncomfortable to fully straighten your legs, you can have a little bend in the knee. That's okay, we're just trying to get the legs up. So if you've been kind of sitting on a chair or walking around all day, it's nice just to get the legs up high. And if your knees are bent, you can support your legs by holding under the thighs as well. That can offer a bit more support. If they're straighter, you can sort of stack the bones and they're not heavy. Another nice option for this pose is to do it against a wall. So if you happen to be near like a wall, you can put your kind of butt next on the wall and then have the legs up on the wall as a nice alternative. Let's keep tuning close, yeah. Okay, so if you are using the wall, then you can stay there. Or if you have a chair handy, you can even bend at the knees and have the calf muscles resting on a chair or a bed. And that's called an astronaut pose, and that can be nice as well. Otherwise, we're going to bring the legs all the way down onto the mat and come into Shavasana, so straightening the legs away. If you want to stay on the wall for a bit longer and then move to Shavasana, that's a nice option as well. So your choice, but eventually making your way just to lie flat. So just letting the whole body, your bones settle. And let everything relax and release. No effort whatsoever. Take a long, deep breath in through the nose. And exhale through your mouth. Start to move your fingers and your toes. You can take a long stretch with your arms overhead if you like. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet onto the mat, or bring the knees right up to the chest. Give yourself a big squeeze. Your eyes closed, roll yourself over to one side and make your way back up to a seated position, just resting the hands on the knees for a moment here, and then just take a moment to tune back into your body and breath, see how you're doing. Thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.